The next question is, in my community, many sisters get married without a wali. Is this permissible according to some of the ulama? One thing to keep in mind is that the righteous mujtahideen and imams and ulama of this ummah who side the truth in their sincere ijtihad in such matters are excused and possibly even rewarded, inshallah. However, those who follow them after the truth becomes clear to them, they are blameworthy. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said all the ulama of this ummah had exceptional sayings in which the sunnah was not apparent to them. He said it doesn't degrade their status, but it also doesn't justify following them in that error. Following exceptional fatwa of the ulama where they made mistakes, especially when it's out of desire, is fisq. Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah ta'ala, said it's by ijma' that it's haram. Okay, I want to marry a sister without going through her wali. Let me go through the books of fiqh and dig up some opinion, some random opinion, based on my desire at that time, based on what I want, and go with that opinion. Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Hussein said the requirement for a wali in nikah is mentioned in the Quran. وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا. Don't give your daughters in marriage to the mushrikeen until they believe. How is that proof? The speech is directed to the guardian, to the wali, to the father, because he has a right in this matter and he's an authority in this matter. وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا. It's directed at the father. Don't give your daughters. Go to the beginning of the verse. In the beginning of that verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about the men. He said, وَلَا تَنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنْ. He told the man, don't marry the mushrikat until they believe. When it was pertaining to the woman, the speech was not directed at the woman, but rather at their guardians. وَلَا تُنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا. Don't give your daughters. But when it was referring to the men in the beginning, it was directly talking to them. Ibn Abdul Barr in Al-Tamheed said the Quran and Sunnah clearly state that there's no marriage except with a wali. And there's no meaning to anything that contradicts that. In Surah An-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ. وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ. وَأَنْكِحُوا, marry them off. Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah ta'ala said the speech is directed at the awliya. Al-khitabu lil-awliya. If a woman marries herself off, why is the speech directed to the wali? In this verse and in the previous verse. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ. Another speech directed to the wali of the woman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the father here, the wali, not to prevent whom he's entrusted with from marrying her former husband if they come into an agreement. Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala said this is the clearest ayah requiring a wali in marriage. The father or wali has a right. He's an authority in this matter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse is restricting that right a little bit by telling him you can't prevent them from remarrying their exes if they come into an agreement. Similar to that, another restriction similar to that is what we mentioned in a previous fatwa. The father cannot force his daughter into marriage. He has the authority, he supervises it, but there's some restrictions. If the father or wali doesn't have authority over his daughter's marriage, why is the speech telling him what he's prevented from doing? Had there been no authority of a father over his daughter in marriage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have deterred him from any type of interference in the entire marriage procedure. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ. Here, it's only placing some restrictions on that authority. And this is the opinion of many of the Sahaba. Ibn Abbas and Ibn Mas'ud and Umar ibn Khattab and Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu ajma'in. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu said, it was supposedly narrated that Abu Huraira said, الزانية هي التي تزوج نفسها. The adulteress is the one who arranges her own marriage. Many other tabi'in also adopted this. Al-Hasan al-Basri and Shuraih and others. In fact, we don't know of any woman in the earlier generations that married herself off without a wali, except what's exceptional that was mentioned about the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's a specialty and an exceptional matter to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn al-Mundhir said it's not permissible for a woman to marry herself off without a wali. And he also said we don't know of any narration of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in that contradicts that.